Good evening or good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Everyday Strong with Dr. Michael G. Daniels. This is your host, C.B. Baker. We got a great topic for you today. So, Dr. Daniels, the topic today is it hard, or why is it hard being a man?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody from the congregation, brought this topic to you, and you decided you wanted to discuss it today. And I'm going to go first.
Sure. Uh-huh.
All right. So, being a man is hard, in my opinion, if you allow it to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Which almost with anything in life, if you allow it to be hard, it'll be hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think for men in general, because we're groomed to be a certain way from day one, if you have a good upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
You don't really think too much about it when you're being a man and being the head of the household, taking care of your wife, taking care of your kids, trying to go in the right direction with everything. And I will say, like, when you make a mistake, that's when things really start to get hard, because who do you turn to if you're supposed to be a strong man?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. And I'm going to tell you why I say this. It's easy to be a male because you're right. We're brought up being a male. I can't say it's easy to be a man and meet the expectations of what women think a man ought to be like.
Okay.
Yeah. It's easy to meet the expectations of what another man thinks you ought to be like. But I don't think it's easy to meet the expectations of what a woman thinks you ought to be like. And I don't think it's easy to meet the criteria that the Bible says a man ought to be. And I'll tell you why I say that. And I'm not saying that it might be easy for you. I'm just saying, I'm telling you why I say it's not easy. The Bible says that a husband, for example, is to be head of his home. But it also says he's to love his wife as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it, which says that a man's role as a husband is to supply his wife's every need according to what's available to him. Now, I'm saying this, to just figure out your wife's needs is difficult.
Right.
Because they change it's constant changing.
Right.
It's constant changing. Now the issue becomes, how do I supply those needs even once I have figured them out? And see, to me, that's difficult. That's not something that I'm taught by my father.
Like hitting a moving target.
Right. It's always hitting a moving target. And I think that most women, their expectation is for you to supply my every need.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're looking for.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from, is that if you're a woman and you're expecting your man to supply your needs, but like you just said, it's a moving target. And so when he figure out the one need and he hits that target, and then it's over here, got to figure it, and then it's too late. Right. The irony is, the longer you're in the relationship, the less likely the woman is to feel like she ought to be able to tell you what her needs are. Mm-hmm. So the target was moving, and maybe she was telling me initially. After a while, she's mad if she has to tell me because you should know them by now. Right. And so that's why I'm saying, to me, I think it's hard. The other reason why I think it's hard, especially in our community, and I mean, when I say our community, I mean, the folk that are descendants from those who came over on slave ships, all right? Whether you call yourself an African American, whether you call yourself, a Black American, what have you, right? I think that's hard because culturally, we have not been taught to be head of a household. Now, I get that individually we may have been taught that way. If you had a strong male figure in your home, right. But I mean culturally, if you go back to slavery time, for example, the average Black man was made to feel like he was less than anybody else for various reasons. The Black woman was not meant to feel that way. Right. The Black woman could always go to the big house and talk and knock on the door. Master John, I need XYZ. The Black man couldn't go knock on the door and say, Master John, I need XYZ. Right. You go to civil rights time, the Black man could not walk down the street and look a white woman in the eye. Right. but a black woman could. A black man couldn't walk down the street and look the white man in the eye, but a black woman could. So I'm saying culturally, the majority has always tried to put the black man down. If you take you and your wife go to a car dealership, even in 2018, they're going to try to sell her and not you.
That's right.
Because they're always focusing on the woman. Culturally, black women have been taught that they are the head. That's what they've been taught, that they are the head, that they really rule the home. And it's difficult for a man now to come in and say, baby, I got this. Right. I'm going to run this. That's what I'm saying to me. Now, I'm not saying it isn't hard to be the head. Right. I'm saying it's hard to convince that woman to say, okay, follow me on this one. Follow me. I got this. I got this. Because culturally, they've been taught that we don't have it.
Right.
Individually it may be different, but I mean culturally.
Right. And I definitely feel you in that. And I've talked to a lot of other guys and try to coach them through their relationships or marriage. And I look at it from the aspect of you're in a situation, if you're the CEO of a company and you have the COO and CFO. Now, a lot of times...
Everybody may not know what a chief operation officer and a chief financial officer is. So you might want to explain that one. Right. Okay.
So one handles the finances and one handles the operations. Mm-hmm. Now, if my wife... So you got to look at... I look at it in the family as an organization. And so therefore, I can't keep my wife out of the dark on certain things. And she needs to let me know about certain things. And I will say this. I do believe a lot of relationships hit rocky road because that moving target. As men, once we get locked in, okay, this is what you need, bam, bam, bam. And then I go focus on something else. 6-8 months go by, that moving target and moved about 3 times, but I'm still thinking I'm providing what you need. And then the argument blows up, and then most men I don't know what the hell I did wrong. And women, I know you've heard the man say, I do not know what I did wrong. And believe me, he really does not know what he did wrong.
And why you're so frustrated.
Right. And that is a huge ordeal in that communication, marriage and communication podcast we did over a year ago now, is that people just don't, it's like they'll get it a little bit, and then it falls off. But if you're not in constant communication and talking, and then also with the men, I think our inability of understanding also gets in the way.
I'm going to disagree with you again. Men do understand. Okay. I understand everything you tell me. And you understand everything I tell you. It ain't that we don't understand. It's that we communicate differently.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, because I can't blame men. I'm a man, so I'm not going to blame men. And I can't let you blame me. So, not on this podcast. Right. Maybe on the next one we'll blame a man. My point is, the difficulty of a man being a man is that women expect him to be a woman and a man.
Yes.
See, what a woman expects a man to do is to be able to decipher her way of communicating as well as his way of communicating. But she doesn't try to decipher his way of communicating. She expects him to always understand what she's trying to say. Right. But she doesn't try to understand what he's trying to say. That's the kicker. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to put women down. I just want to, bring us back to the question of, is it difficult to be a man? And I'm saying, yes, it's difficult to be the kind of man a woman wants, because what they want from us is to be both types of people. Sometimes a woman wants you to understand how she thinks, how she acts, and understand her emotions. But if you show emotion like a woman, now you're too weak for her, right? Right. Now, she wants you to understand that her cries don't always mean that she's weak. But I tell you what, let you start bawling all the time. Right. You're going to be viewed as weak. So what do you do when you have emotions pent up in you and you need to, can you, how much can you really tell your wife about your fears, about, financial fears. Now, I don't mean just, I'm worried because I can't pay the bill. I mean them kind of deep fears that you might have that's got you up all night and you're sick and you're saying, I better not tell her because I don't want everybody to be worried about this thing.
Right.
How much can you really tell her? Because if you're really showing her a real fear, you're viewed as weak. And what a woman will often say is, well, I shouldn't let you have this anyway. And then she'll want to take over. So I'm saying, but see, a woman, our thing is, come dump on me.
All right.
Come tell, baby, if you're worried and you just come tell me. But we can't do the same thing to them. I'm just saying, if you do it, you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
You're gonna be in trouble because they're gonna be saying that man's just so weak, he can't handle nothing.
Right.
I've heard women say time and time again that this man I got, he's just a follower. Anybody can convince him of anything. I want me a strong man. And that's only because that man is sensitive.
Right.
Being sensitive don't make you weak. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, I get it. I heard what you're saying that we're not good communicators. I'm just saying, I don't think we're not good communicators. It's that we communicate differently. We understand verbal cues and visual cues differently because women don't always give you succinct cues, right? They just don't. You think about this for a minute. How do you know when a woman is upset with you or upset with herself?
You can't. It's the same reaction.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So I can't say that, I'm that the person not a good communicator, because a woman can be upset with herself and take it out on you.
Mm-hmm.
And be mad and frustrated, and it ain't nothing to do with you. But you don't know that. And you're sitting there thinking, well, my goodness, wait a minute. What in the world is going on? And she's frustrated at her own self, to something that she may have made a mistake doing. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. When the last time you heard a woman say, I'm sorry?
I tell you what.
Don't incriminate yourself now.
when I did hear it, it's like everything for the rest of that day was, let me point out what you've done wrong today. So I don't even try to get an I'm sorry.
Right. Because if they say I'm sorry, what they're going to overshadow it with is every mistake you've made in the last 10 years.
Right.
Right. Now, how many times does a woman want you to say I'm sorry?
All the time.
All the time. That's why I'm saying, that's why it's so difficult being a man, because a woman says she wants you to be strong. You know what strong would be? If you didn't say I'm sorry all the time. Mm-hmm. If you just said, hey, wait a minute, I did the best I could do. Might not have been good enough for you. That's the best I can do. Right. And why should I be sorry for being the best I can do? Right. But that's not what they want. What they want is, baby, I'm so sorry. I know I was late making the payment and it'll never happen again. And they make a mistake and they won't say I'm sorry at all. Again, ladies, I'm not trying to say a negative thing about you guys. I'm not putting y'all down. This is not the point. The point I'm making is that to be the man that a woman expects you to be is hard, because that takes a lot of sucking up some stuff and closing your mouth and blocking your feelings, and then knowing when not to block your feelings. And how can you? You would spend all your day on just that if you were to be what most women expect you to be. Now, women will say, "I don't expect a lot out of my man." That's what they will say, but that's not what they really mean. And I'm just saying that's what makes it hard being a man. It's hard even being a father, raising a son, to be a man in the house with a strong woman. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that is because you can take this one to the bank. I bet you the average man cannot chastise his son as strongly as the mother can. And I can tell you that the average woman is quick to say, that's my child. Mm-hmm. Quick to say, that's my child. You separate from the average woman and watch her say, these are my children. Right. She don't say these are our children. Right. These are my children. They're going with me. These are let your wife not like the way your parents treat her children. Mm-hmm. You can't say, oh yeah, my mama gonna watch them or my daddy gonna watch them. She gonna be like,
Right.
Let you don't like the way her parents watch your kids, and you see if it matters one bit.
You're absolutely right.
That's what I'm just saying. So I'm saying from that standpoint, I'm saying it's difficult. And I'll tell you another thing. You watch daytime television, for example. Which shows on daytime television get the highest ratings? Those shows that make men look good or those shows that make men look bad?
The shows that make men look bad.
Bingo. Think about it. Shows that make men look bad get the highest ratings. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you think it would be the other way around?
Yeah.
Wouldn't women want to see their men in a good light? But no. Right. The shows that talk about how doggish men are, the shows that say that what? The problem is the man.
Right.
The problem is the man. Rated high. Mm-hmm. Because that says to women, you know what? Your man needs to always step up. He ain't right like he is. He needs to step up. And that's why when you look in the audience, it's like 90% women and 10% men.
Right.
Or 95% women and 5% men. And dare I say, the men in the audience, they're not married men. If they are married men, it's because the wife made them come.
Right. You know, what's interesting, you talking on the TV show Power. I don't know if you watch Power or not, but the son is really acting out. Mm-hmm. And he was acting out towards the father, like really just bucking against him. And the father, who was they're in a strange marriage, started to go after the son. And the mama stepped in and said, no, do not do that. Mm-hmm. 2 episodes later, the son bucks against the father again and the mother. Mm-hmm. She turns to the father and says, you better get your son. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, he tried to do it. You wouldn't let him do it.
Right.
And it's a perfect example for people out there that watch the show Power. They all know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Without giving the show away. But this is what I do. And I kind of take a page from my father's playbook on this. There's certain things my dad did with me that was like non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If it was a major family decision, it was non-negotiable. Right. And you could tell the minute his whole demeanor just switched. Sure. So it was like the 80-20 rule, but his 20 is like 80% of the stuff that goes on in the house. He was like, Irene, that's my mom's name. You got it. Mm-hmm. Dealing with me, you got it. Most of my whippers came from my mom. Most of the discipline came from my mom. But when it was real, that 20%, it was like, okay, I better chill out. Or this is what we're doing as a family. He picked his battles. Now, that's what I kind of do. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing it because I'm mimicking my father. Sure. But now, are men in general kind of doing that? Like, if my wife or girlfriend is tripping right now, mm-hmm. do I even address this, or I just let the wind just blow over and it come back to it in a couple of days and it's gone?
But why should you have to is the issue. See, that's what I'm saying when I say it's harder. Because why should you have to, by virtue of being male, right, have to limit your ability to be what you have said you are? Right. Just for the sake of harmony. That to me in itself says that you are, for example, why is it that there is a idiom that says happy wife, happy life? Mm-hmm. Why is that? Why is it if you ask people in front of if it's a group of women that outnumber the men, and you just raise the question and you say, what makes for a happy marriage? Every man there, most of them, will say, make her happy. Mm-hmm. You don't hear the women saying, make him happy. You hear the women even saying, happy wife, happy life. Why is that? Now that right there to me speaks volumes. If we live such that our thought process is, we don't care if the man is miserable.
Right.
If the wife is happy, then it's a happy life. That's this foolish. That to me, that's the most asinine thing I've heard. So you don't care if everybody else is miserable.
Right.
As long as the wife is happy. Well, that again.
And then let's be real. There's some men right now in a miserable situation and don't know how to communicate it because they want to be there in a connected family, but they're catching pure hell at home, and then when they don't come home right after work, you think they were another woman or something. They're not. They're at the bar trying to get their head straight.
And just don't want to come home.
Right. And that's where if you're hitting him straight through, come home from dealing with the man, quote unquote, and you hit him with a bunch of other stuff that's going on that's negative, he don't want to come hear that.
He don't. And again, see, that's why I'm saying, I get women assume it's easy being a man. And what they say is, well, you all don't understand. We got it hard because we are the mother and we're the primary caregiver. I'm not saying that being a woman is easy. That's not my point. I think being a woman is difficult. See, but I just think being either party in the relationship is difficult. Right. So I don't think one is easier than the other. I think both of them are difficult. And both of them are difficult for different reasons, and that's the thing.
But you think it's because women are more vocal than men, so that's the reason why it gets more, quote-unquote, airtime?
I think it gets more airtime because with men, see, if you keep complaining to a woman that you're unhappy, she looks at you as being less than a man. So you can't keep telling your wife you're unhappy all the time. As a matter of fact, let me say this. I don't know of any woman, and I'm not saying some aren't out there. I don't know of any woman that wants to hear the truth about their husband or their significant other being unhappy. Because when you tell a woman she's unhappy, she becomes immediately upset with you as opposed to trying to correct why you're unhappy. But a woman is quick to tell you why she's unhappy. And she doesn't want you to get angry. She wants you to fix it. That's what she wants. And if you don't respond that way, she's going to be more vocal because I told you I was unhappy and you didn't say anything about it. I mean, then that's the way it goes. I've been counseling couples since 1989, and I can tell you, for the most part, that's how it goes. I'm in counseling. If the guy says, I'm unhappy because of this, the first thing he gets is attacked. When the woman says, I'm unhappy, what she wants him to do is listen and then find a solution to make her happy.
So what do you do to get the woman to listen or to hear what the man is saying?
Well, I mean, there are various counseling techniques that you can use to help people to understand. And one of the biggest problems I see is that most women, I'm not saying all, but I'm just saying many, most people in general, let me cut that, don't say women. People want to prove to you they're right, bottom line. People want to prove to you they're right, which means people don't want to be wrong. So if I tell you there's a problem, what your mind says is I just told you were wrong. But just because I tell you a problem doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means what you're doing doesn't make me feel good. Yeah. And that's the thing. And so what we have to do is we have to get your mind to stop interpreting every complaint as meaning that you are wrong. That your mind needs to now understand that you can be doing the right thing, but that don't mean I feel good about it. It can be the right thing to have the thermostat set on 75. But that don't mean I feel good about it. Right. It can be the right thing to serve me a salad every night. But that don't mean I feel good about it. I still might want some ribs. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you can be doing the right thing and I can feel wrong. So that's the thing we got to, you work on. So that's, but that's why I'm just saying that I think that what women don't do is that women don't allow for men to be men. I can't be a male clone of a woman. That's what I think oftentimes women are looking for. A man that can be what they have envisioned, but what they envision is someone who has the same thought processes that they have, but just be in a male body and be strong. And I can't do that. A man has to think like a man, process information like a man, and make decisions like a man. What we know is that men basically we are risk takers more than women are. I mean, that's the part of what we are. Men are more risk takers, and you don't have to. You can see that in little children. You take some, and they have been taught one thing. You take a group of little boys and put them in the backyard by themselves. They will do things that are more risky than the little girls who are in the same backyard.
Yes, they will.
It's just the way they are. Our makeup, and that doesn't leave us as we get older. Our risks may be in different ways, but that still kind of stays with us, which means when we're making decisions, when men are making decisions, they tend to make decisions that are more riskier. Mm-hmm. If I make more riskier decisions, then statistically, something's going to go wrong. Right? And when it does go wrong, it's going to blow up more than the person who made a very conservative decision.
Right.
But so if we understand that, then when the man does do something to blow up, you're not all, bent out of shape, or you didn't think it through, or you didn't do this, because you understand that, okay, that's, it's the way the makeup is. That a woman cannot expect a man to think the way she thinks. Mm. And a man shouldn't expect a woman to think the way he thinks. It doesn't mean that, we are good or bad. It's just that we are different. And so, that's why I'm saying, is it hard being a man? I agree with you. No. If I am a man dealing with a man.
Right.
I'm just saying it's hard being a man the way a woman expects you to be a man. That's the hard part. That's the difficult part. I was raised by a woman, and I can tell you, it's still hard being a man and living up to the expectation of a woman. It just is, but I can tell you, I look at my parents. My father's deceased now, but I look at what he held as a standard, and look at what my mother held as a standard, and I can tell you, it was easy meeting my father's standard. It was easy because his view of a man was different. It was hard meeting my mother's standard. Now, I'm not saying I didn't meet it. I'm just saying it was harder to meet it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how should we maneuver through society? Now, which I totally agree with, mm-hmm. Equal rights for women, equal pay, sure. All this stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, okay, the second you be a man or say something that's firm, not forceful, but firm. Mm-hmm. In any type of situation, you have some women that look at you like, well, how you dare say this to me? But they'll let somebody else say that they're another female. And I'm just telling you what needs to be done.
Right.
Or I like the reality show scenario when they ask the man to be in a reality show with a bunch of women, mm-hmm. and the women are talking about the man in the show. Mm-hmm. And then when the man stands up for himself and speaks back, the first thing the women say, what kind of man argue with women?
Right.
It's like, when did it become bad? I feel like if you, like my mama said, if a woman approaches you in that way, you repeat back as a man. So they understand this is not a little game that we're playing here. Mm-hmm. So stand firm, respect for yourself as well as respect for the other person. And I think that is also getting out of hand because now men don't know how to communicate, even in the workplace or just out and about. Like you can open a door now for a woman and she not say thank you or no, you go ahead. I don't need you to hold the door for me.
Let me give you a real world or a good example of what you just said. Just recently, I had a forum, a summit, where it was an education summit for voter rights, but also it allowed the candidates for city council and second district Congress and school board members to come and express their reasons why people should vote for them. Well, there were a lot of people on the podium, especially for school board and city council. But anyway, the school board members were up there. And here's what I said. Even when I started out, I said, this is how we're going to do things because of the number. And rather than have people do it by alphabetical, you got to have a way to decide who's going to talk first. So I said, we're going to let the ladies go first because we're going to be gentlemen. Let the ladies go first, right? The city council, no problem. The ladies spoke first, then the men spoke. No big deal. It gets to the school board members, and there's a lady there, and she said, wait a minute, why do the ladies have to go first? I said, they don't have to go first. It's just that I was taught to be a gentleman, and as a gentleman, I just said, well, we'll let ladies go first, and then the men follow. Well, I found that offensive. I found that offensive because I don't need to go first. I can go last. I said, okay, no problem. If you want to go last, that's fine. And asked the other lady, did you want to go now? And she said, sure, I'll go first. So I just handed the mic to another lady. Right. And let all the ladies do their thing except that one lady. Then I let all the men go and gave her the mic at that time. Now, she spent, of the time that she had to talk, she spent the majority of the time trying to say why women should not go first. Okay? Now, that's my point is simple. Well, as a man, what should I do? Right. Should I not be a gentleman or should I be a gentleman? Right. How am I supposed to figure out that this person does not want me to treat her like a lady, right, but want me to treat her like a man? Now, if someone was in there fighting, okay, should I treat her like a man and not protect her? Right. Or should I treat her like a woman and try to protect her? Well, see, I don't know because I'm getting different communications from her about what my role is. Now, she was a woman that had a few years on her. She was not a young woman, by no means. Right. So let's say I had gone in a parking lot and now she has a flat tire. Should I have done what I would do to a man who has a flat tire and just say, hey, bro, you got a jack? And if he says yes, all right. And I'll watch him jack it up, right, watch him change his tire, because I'm not going to change the tire for a man. Right. Or should I treat her like a lady and said, ma'am, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it for you. You see, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying is in today's society, it can be hard being a man because if I don't treat her like a woman, I'm going to get flack. If I do treat her like a woman, I'm going to get flack. Right. So what do I do? Right. Difficult situation.
And the other crazy thing is if she had the flat and you walk by her and don't say nothing, she would have a problem with you not saying something. Mm-hmm. And then the people that's on the outside that see her with the flat, see you walk by her, right, don't know what just happened inside. Right. Then the Dr. Daniels is, what's going on with him?
Can't believe he did that. Right. Called himself a Christian. He's the pastor of the church. And didn't even help her out. See, that's why I'm saying it's hard to be a man because you don't know. You don't know what to do in different situations. Let me give you another scenario. Not happened to me, but just, it did happen in the workplace, and I happened to be a supervisor at the time. Okay. How does a man know when it's sexual harassment? Because here's what the legal definition is. Unsolicited and unwanted sexual advance. Now, you tell me, what is a sexual advance?
It could be just saying hi.
Bingo. Here's the thing. If I'm in my office, and I got a magazine on my desk that has cheerleaders on it, if a woman says I found it offensive, that's sexual harassment. That is a workplace that is considered to be not appropriate. Right. Now, I didn't invite her in, and a cheerleader on a Sports Illustrated, in my mind, is not a hostile work environment. Right. But a woman said it was a hostile work environment because her supervisor, it wasn't a Sports Illustrated magazine. It was actually a calendar. Mm-hmm. She said it was a hostile work environment. Now, how many men think that's a hostile work environment? Zero. Now, other women came in and thought nothing of it. So how does he know? How does he know? If a man approaches a woman and say, hey, you look really nice in that dress, that can be sexual harassment. How many times, if a woman say to a man, that's a nice suit you got on.
Right.
Do you think anyone would consider that sexual harassment?
No.
No, and I guess that's why I'm saying being a man is more than just, bringing food home and paying the bills.
Right.
I'm talking about how we navigate through society. It is difficult if you're going to be what they expect you to be. That's, again, I keep saying it that way.
Right.
If they're going to be what you expect me to be, because they expect you to be a certain way. And if you're not, people look down on you. Like I say, if they expect me to open the door for somebody, if I don't, they're going to say, he's not a gentleman. They expect me to change a tire. They expect me to help a lady across the street if it's snow on the ground. But if I do take her by the arm and she say, that man accosted me, that was sexual harassment. I'm like, I'm just trying to help you walk across the street because there's snow on the ground.
Right.
It's,
what's really funny, which is a little bit off subject, but same thing with kids.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, if you went in the bathroom and there was a little kid in there, you helped him get to the sink, help him wash his hands,
mm-hmm.
boom, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go in the restroom, little kid in there, I actually leave it back out.
Mm-hmm.
Let him come on back out because they'll believe the child before they believe me.
Absolutely.
So and it's unfortunate that we've gotten to this
mm-hmm.
To this stage, but yeah, I think you said, what's your famous line? I don't want my good to be ill speaking of.
Yeah, right. Don't let your good be evil spoken of. Right.
So, and that, believe it or not, I think about that a lot. It's like, well, I'm doing good, but could this be, perceived as something different?
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes I just say, you know what? I'm going to do what I feel is right. And whoever feel like they saw something, it's like, hey.
Sure.
And that's sometimes as a man, you have to just do that. Like you just and then own up to where, well, you know what? That didn't really work out the way I intended it to.
Sure.
And then if your wife call you out on it, you can say, hey, that didn't work out the way I intended to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing the information I know now, I'm most likely wouldn't have done it that way.
Sure.
If I'd have known the information I know now, but I didn't have that information then, so therefore I can't really say I'm sorry for what I did because I would have done it again based on the information that I had.
And the reality is, you're not sorry.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're not. If you make an investment and investment plummets, right? Are you really sorry? No, because you didn't have perfect knowledge. Now, if you invested in a store that was getting ready to go out of business, then baby, I'm sorry I threw the money away, right? But if you invest in Halliburton before they start saying they had illegal activity, you didn't know they had illegal activity. How did you know the stock was going to go down? Right? You just wouldn't have known. And so I'm just saying those kind of things. Again, to me, I'm not trying to diminish a woman's role. I'm not trying to diminish how hard women work, how hard mothers work. I just think that we ought to give credit where credit is due for everyone. It's difficult being the man that women say they ought to be. And I think that is one of the reasons why men stop trying. I think that's why they stop trying and they become, as you said, what they want to be. And what you just said was so spot on that after a while, you just say to yourself, well, you know what? If nothing I do is going to make you happy, I might as well start making myself happy.
There you go. And that's when you start seeing men out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
You see them out in the street. They ain't happy out by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they talking trash while they at the bar or whatever, and then it just escalates from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, and the devil will send that woman straight in there with the tight dress on and everything,
mm-hmm.
that makes every man miserable in her life,
mm-hmm.
but it's going to break up a happy home. And now you done caught him.
No, break up a home. Home might not have been happy.
Right. Break up a home, and with him 10 drinks into it, and his judgment is off. It didn't happen at that moment. It happened way before.
Right. It was way back. And I'll give you this a quick thing that happened too. And this was a conversation that happened at church. All right. And I won't say the name because I want to protect both innocent and the guilty. Okay. Someone came up to me a few weeks ago and said, Pastor Daniels, we got some sorry men at this church. They just as lazy as they can be. And I said, why do you say that?
Right.
Because they won't here to help us, do whatever the women were doing. And I said, these men aren't lazy. These are some hardworking men in this church. No, you just don't know, Pastor Daniels. They got you snowed. I said, that ain't true. Now, here's the reality of it. Every Sunday, the men are in the parking lot directing traffic. Mm-hmm. They're walking if it's pouring down rain, they're in the parking lot, walking people to the door with the umbrella. I don't care if it's 20 degrees outside. I don't care what the weather condition. I don't care if it's 99 degrees outside. They're out there. Mm-hmm. All right. On our Community Day celebration, we fed about 3,000 people. Who do you think cooked all that food? Men. Right. Those guys were out there cooking from like 7 o'clock in the morning, and they cooked till 5 p.m. Men. Who was hauling the food back and forth? Men. Who set the stuff up? Men. Who broke the stuff down? Men. We had an event after church this past Sunday where the men came to me and said, Pastor, you know what? Since it's the Labor Day weekend, let's just serve hot dogs and hamburgers after church. I said, that's fine. You know what those men did? They started cooking at 7 o'clock Sunday morning. Who served all the food? The men served all the food. You know who cleaned up afterwards? The men cleaned up afterwards. But in the women's mind, they said to me, we have lazy men in this church. When women say that about men, after a while, the men will say, you know what? No matter what we do, you aren't satisfied.
And I'm done.
I'm done. So they will stop doing the little that they are doing. So I guess my point again is that, not to say a woman's job is not hard. It is. It's hard. But see, you don't find men saying that a woman's job isn't hard. Most men will acknowledge that, being a mother is a hard job. Most men will say that. I think it's time for women to start saying, you know what? My husband has a hard job and I appreciate everything he does. These men have difficult roles in society to play, and I appreciate what they do. And to start letting that man know, I appreciate the things that you do. I know you work hard. I know you give it all to make our family a good family. I think it's time for them to start acknowledging the hard efforts that men put into things. I know you worry all night long about how we're going to make ends meet. I see you up in the middle of the night. So I know that you're not up in the middle of the night just because you want to watch TV or you want to be on the computer. That tells me you're worried about how we're going to be successful. I think they need to start saying to that man, I appreciate you for that. Not, why didn't you help me wash the dishes? And why didn't you help me change the diaper? Right. But appreciate that he is working hard. He may be not doing what you do, but that doesn't mean he ain't working hard. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a lot to give. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't appreciate him for that. Because being the man that a woman wants is a hard job. It's a hard job. But anyway, I don't want to get on the soapbox because I have been up there anyway for a while today. But
it is a hard job, and I'm going to say this to my friends and fellas out there. I understand NFL Madden, the new Madden has come out, and the NBA 2K has come out. But if you've got enough time to play video games longer than 2 hours, you got a problem. I'm gonna leave it at that. If you want to be successful, you're gonna have to start doing something else, because 2 hours, Pastor Daniel, is still 2 hours. Get better every day. This is your host, C.D. Baker. The next time.